Double Dragon Revive. Double Dragon Revive has got to be one of the worst Double Dragon games of all time. Not for what you think. Let's start off with the pros. Okay? And Top Hat Gaming, shout out to you. Love your content. Love what you do. But this is the first time in a long time that I had to do a response video. And I know that a lot of your fans are not going to like what I have to say, and that's okay. It'll probably take you maybe a couple of months or maybe years for one of your fans to come across this video and say, hold on a second, I disagree with this. And this Spindlehorn makes a good point. I am the naturally born hated Virgo for a reason. So let's start with the pros, okay? Double Dragon Revive does have a robust combat system. Yes, it does. It has great innovation when it comes to interactive environments, to an extent. It pays homage and respect to the Double Dragon franchise. You're damn right it does. It has fantastic music. Fucking A. And the sound effects are satisfying. Mm-hmm. And the voice acting, superb. So you're thinking to yourself, hey, well, there you go. It's a good game. Let's just pack it up and no, 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 no. You see, this alone will only allow me to give a game a 7 out of 10 because that is what you call the bare minimum. So to those who are defending this game and saying it's one of the greatest Double Dragon games, I get what you're saying. But I want you to just think about what you're saying as well. So, let's go ahead and take a deep breath and just relax. Because I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to yell. I'm simply just going to talk to you all, okay? And I'm pretty sure you probably need something to distract you all so that way it's not just me talking. Because, again, we live in a world where, you got to have something playing in your face in order for people to be attentive to what you're saying. Understandable, I get it. I totally understand. So let me just launch something here. So that way you have something that pretty much breaks away the monotony of just listening to me talk. I totally get it. I totally understand. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. The fact that I have to stop what I'm doing, my studies, to do this, to prove a point, is it's baffling. Now I know some of you will say, well, you should be playing the new Double Dragon game. And to you, I say, no thank you. I actually have played the game, beat the game, refunded it. It was one of the worst experiences I've ever dealt with in my life when it comes to gaming in general. You see, one of the things that always confused me with Angry Video Game Nerd, and I understand that that's his whole character, is that he would rant about games that worked. It was just the gameplay mechanics weren't fair. And then I would see other small YouTubers who would play set games and beat them just fine. By the way, you see these game modes, story, survival, versus. I want you to go back to almost every single Double Dragon game and tell me how many times you've seen story, survival, and versus. In almost every single Double Dragon game. Maybe not every single Double Dragon game, but in most Double Dragon games, you will see these 3 game modes. And it's interesting to me because it hasn't evolved. It has not evolved past these game modes. Every single Double Dragon game, where it's good or mediocre, or the one that's supposedly bad, we're going to talk about that one too. It has not evolved past this. So one of the biggest issues that I have with this game is its lack of content. And this has been an issue, not just because of Double Dragon Revive, but it's been an issue with I said almost, not all, every single Double Dragon game. They charge $30, $25 or whatnot for these games. And, then all of a sudden it's, and of course they offer discounts. I know Instant Game and all that stuff, and that's cool and everything. But the base price, like from the Steam store or whatnot, they charge this price, right? Because now everyone has a PC. And that's what they give us. Now, I understand with this game, it's an exception to that rule because there's tons of content here, and the gameplay is fantastic, and it's fast and it's fluid. But one has to ask, how long has Double Dragon felt comfortable with only giving us the bare minimum? Since the first 4 Double Dragon games, we have been given those 3 modes. Arcade, of course, which is just pretty much chapter select. Or we could pick a level, and it's pretty much you can treat as arcade mode. And a challenge mode. Why is it that is okay? Why is the bare minimum okay? Now, with Double Dragon Gaiden, you got the token system and whatnot, and survival mode is a lot more fun than it's ever been. But it's just, you have to ask yourself, why are we content with the bare minimum when it comes to Double Dragon? You wouldn't be content with the bare minimum if it was a TMNT game, or if it was Streets of Rage 4. And I understand that, Double Dragon and whatnot, they don't have to do what the other beat-em-up games are doing. But look at how much they're asking for Double Dragon Revive. $35. What do you get for $35? I'll tell you what you get. You get 4 characters, one of which you have to unlock by playing the game, like beat the first level. And then on level 4, you unlock Ronso. Ronso is one of the best characters in the game. Now, think about this for a sec. How many levels you think that a $35 game has? You would expect maybe 15, maybe 16, maybe even 12, just to be nice. 8 levels. 8. I didn't stutter. 8. So, $35, 8 levels, doing the same combat with different variations and with environmental interactability over and over and over again. So the pros of me talking about this game are gone. Let's go ahead and talk about the cons. And I'm just going to go over this via list. Same game modes that we got from almost every single Double Dragon game, with the exception of one, and it's a sloppy mess. It's kind of like, it's not a boss gauntlet mode, but it has like a twist where you beat up these enemies within a time limit, and if you fail to reach that time limit, you can't fight the boss. That's it. That's pretty much it. And you do that multiple times with unfair conditions. The dodge and the block button. Sometimes it barely even works. You're trying to block an enemy. You're getting hit from the side. You get hit, north and south. Too bad. You just get your gluteus maximus pounded to you. It's difficult to block because sometimes, for some reason, when you're getting hit in all sorts of directions, you can't block. It's funny how other beat 'em up games have mastered this perfectly, but Double Dragon, a damn near 40-year-old franchise, a franchise that's accumulated what, almost $2 billion, according to VG charts. And if that number's changed, please let me know in the comments. But it's made a lot of money. But yet it seems like Arc System Works, Techno, they don't seem to care about burning money as well. So you got, in the platformer sections, I agree with IGN. They're awful. They are absolutely terrible. This is the worst I've seen in any beat 'em up game. The fact that Marlo Briggs got this right. You probably don't even know what Marlo Briggs is. Good. But no, not good. I recommend you check the game out. It has its issues, but give it a shot. Yeah. Hell is definitely freezing over if I'm recommending Marlo Briggs. There are certain platforming sections that are awful, where you're getting attacked by enemies and you keep falling over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what the difficulty to the level of the game that you're playing. It's not fun. It's frustrating. So you're close to, the checkpoint. You fall. Oh, too bad. You die. You gotta do that section all over again. It's a mess. And there's no amount of patches or updates that can fix this unless they rework that entire level. So there's really nothing you can do about it but accept it, right? Just accept the terrible platforming. We can all agree that the platforming is bad. It's not good, it's bad. So there's no defending it. The awkward movement of the characters, where you're trying to move up and down and left. Why are the characters running automatically? Why is there not an option where I could just run forward? Or just, double dash to run? Again, why is this okay? There's no classic outfits? I'm sorry, but really? You're telling me that the deluxe edition, what we get is a color swap of the outfits, but we can't get the classic, iconic outfits that we grew up with? It would not have been difficult to design classic outfits for those three characters. It would have not been difficult. Especially for Ronzo, was just give him a ninja mask and just change his color, palette swap. That's it. That's all they would have to do. No Sonny, no Jeff, which, again, why are these two characters heavily being ignored and only acknowledged in Double Dragon 4, and I think there was another version of Double Dragon, and Double Dragon Gaiden? Does Techno, Arc System Works hate these guys? Like, how cool would it be if you could play as these characters, have 4-player co-op? No 4-player co-op. And I don't want to hear the excuse of it's not possible when the most unfair level in the whole game is not the final level. It's the gauntlet level. Boss gauntlet levels are lazy, and I wish they would just die. Fight and Rage, in my opinion, probably the only beat 'em up game that gets this done right. But even I say boss gauntlet levels need to die. You add a boss rush mode, and that's it. Fuck off with boss gauntlet levels. They're lazy. We don't need them anymore. Just add a boss rush mode, and that's it. That's it. That's the end of it. The combat is repetitive, even though it's fun, which I get it. Double Dragon prides itself in being repetitive but fun. Why is that something to pride yourself in? Why would you want to pride yourself on the fact that you have repetitive combat? I don't like, see, with the Double Dragon games, it always confuses me. It's either it's fast, it's a little slow, it's too fast, or it's clunky. This is the founding father of fighting games and beat 'em ups, and they can't get this right. Or it's a mixed bag where you can get it right, but you don't get it right. But it's okay because the game is fun. That's all that matters, right? The game is fun. That's a problem for me because that's another issue that I have, and that's a big con. So not only are the boss levels not fun because they're flat out just broken and it's easy to exploit enemies and AI, because the AI is not intelligent at all. It doesn't matter if it's the hard level or the normal level. You can pretty much deceive the, like you can pretty much deceive the enemies into hitting one another and whatnot by moving to a certain area. And there you go. Dodging is a chore and it barely works, especially in one of the levels where you have to fight this one guy. I really don't care what his name is. I understand that he's a, a well-known villain in Double Dragon, which there's not really a lot of well-known iconic villains in Double Dragon. Don't kid yourself. And if you dare tell me that there are, you're lying. Maybe there's like 4, 5, or 6, but it's whatever. It's just ridiculous to me, right? It's just ridiculous. Oh, not to mention the game has technical issues, soft locks. Sometimes the game will crash. Sometimes the game will bug out. There was a bug, and I have proof of this bug. So if any of y'all want to come in here and talk about, he doesn't know what he's talking about, I have proof of this bug. But I think I have to be careful because, again, I can't really show it due to, if you know, you know. Give me a sec here. But what I can do, let's see here. I think I got it. I just gotta look for it. No, that's not it. Here it is. And I can show it. Yes, I can show it because I don't have the perfect. All right. Now I want you all to pay attention to this bug, this glitch, okay? And then you tell me if this is one of the greatest Double Dragon games of all time after seeing this shit.
So is this a game bug or? Oh no!
Look at this! Look at this! People are defending this game, and this is the shit I had to deal with.
I can't.
And guess what? This was not supposed to happen. So what happened here is Ronzo, right? Because I guess I interrupted the cutscene and whatnot, and it triggered Ronzo being, invisible, and I had to keep fighting him. And this same thing happened with the Bodo fight, right?
Wow, the shitty game broke on one of the levels. That's beautiful.
Great game, right? Great game. So it turns out I was not supposed to fight him. I was supposed to keep it moving.
I gotta do this all over again.
So then, of course, I did it again just to see if I can trigger
There's
it.
no health packs. What? Oh yeah, I forgot. Double Dragon never had that. But still, like, really?
And yeah, it happened again. Where I beat him, he became invisible, and I kept fighting him. And guess what? It was not supposed to happen. It was supposed to be I fight him, he disappears, I advance. So can someone tell me why this game is getting so much praise and you're defending stuff like this? I mean, look at this mess. I can't even hit the guy. I can't even hit him. Look, I'm literally trying. I'm actually trying. The targeting is not good. There's moments of this game where it's just very slow and clunky. I will praise the fact that Billy and Jimmy have, you know, distinct movesets, which I never understood why that was always an issue since Double Dragon 2. You know, it's just I don't get it. I mean, look at this mess. I'm trying
Fucking
to fight,
garbage.
right? I'm over here trying to fight, and I'm over here getting bombarded by a bunch of enemies here. This is
The
poor
coolest character
design,
that I wanted to play as
and
when
I
I first heard
expected
about
more
this
from a
game,
Double Dragon
and I
game.
have to go to this bullshit.
I'm
as
so
well.
glad that I got actual proof of this bullshit. I really am.
Did you just beat up your own? Whatever.
Oh, well, patches will fix it. I'm sick and tired of that excuse. I really am. Like, and my question is, did anyone beta test this game? And yes, it's easy to exploit the boss character. So here's that. I beat him. Sorry, I guess I beat him, right? I skipped this. And oh,
Okay, so
look at that.
He's supposed to be invisible.
He's
What?
still trying to kick my ass.
No, not really. Wait, where'd he go? What the fuck?
Oh, wait, I think he's gone. Nope,
So, is
I'm
this
stuck.
a game bug or? Oh no!
Oh my god. Seriously?
I can't even see him.
You get my point, right? You get my point. And this is why I'm always skeptical when anyone, I don't care who it is, even someone that I truly, really like, does that, where they like, oh, well, you know, this game is great and stuff. I will always put people like that into question because that's the type of stuff that I'm just gonna be real with you. Some folks won't show because you know they're like, oh well, you know, it's a bug and stuff, and it happens. You know, no, I'm no, absolutely not. So that's just one of the many bugs. One of the bugs I should have recorded is the fact that I soft locked twice. So like, let's just say, you know, I wanted to check something or like check my email, and then I get back in the game, and then it soft locks. So I checked my controller to see if that was an issue. Not soft locks. Had to pretty much exit out of the game. I mean, sheesh, man. Really? And this happened twice. I've never dealt with that with any Double Dragon game. And then let's talk about Marion's, or like, not just Marion's, but like the character designs. I think the Double Dragon, you know, former developers already stated everything that I was thinking, but I don't think that the character designs are all bad. I like Billy and Jimmy's new look. I even like Ronzo's look. Marion's look is so-so. It reminds me of Tifa, which is fine, but it's kind of it's uninspired, in my humble opinion. It's just uninspired to me. They could have done a better job. They could have, you know, stuck with the look. They could have gave her a police look, you know, like, hey, you know, they're you know, she's a cop and whatnot, but nah, they just wanted to give her this generic look, you know, from yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking with that design. It just doesn't look appealing at all. It's just so many outfits they could have used for Mary and whatnot, but they just decided to go with the Tifa look, which only Tifa and like Yang can like rock that look, in my opinion. That's just me. That's just me personally. There's certain characters that can rock that look, and there's just certain characters that can't. So what do you get when you beat Double Dragon Revive? You get nothing. I looked up and I was told that you get all these game modes, and that didn't happen. Either I did something wrong, the game bugged out, or what, but I unlocked nothing. I got chapter select and achievement. Say congrats, you beat the game. I think I've proven my point with everything that's wrong with Double Dragon Revive. So if you still buy the game, that's fine. But the fact that you're defending the $35 price point is just baffling to me. When there's two games that you could purchase, three indie games you could purchase that are less than that equal to $35, that is well worth your time. There's so many other beat 'em up and hacker slash games that are deserving of your money.
Absalom, which is a game I want to save up and get. That game is absolutely awesome and amazing. People are asking, no, they're not asking, but they're pretty much saying, play Shinobi Art of Vengeance. I know people have issues with that game, but that game is one of the best Shinobi games out there. Play Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Play Ninja Gaiden 4. Play any other game but this disappointment, okay? That's why I can only give it a 4. Because it's just it has like cool ideas, like the environment, interactability. I like it, being able to press right trigger, do this and that really has not been done in any Double Dragon game, but it has been done in games entirely. And I feel like they could have done just a little bit more, but they didn't. They just went with the bare minimum because we just do that. That's it, and you don't even get to use the environment as much, or you don't even have to bother. You literally can just beat people up and that's it. It's cool to like knock people off, the ledge, but again, that's something that you can do in other beat 'em up games. And then of course there's this cool character named Marcus that a lot of people like, and unfortunately you can't unlock him, you can't play as him. Maybe he'll be paid DLC, pretty much raising the price of $35 to $45. There's no secret boss characters, which sucks. There's no ability to have a boss EXE mode where you could fight the harder version of bosses or the shadow version of bosses. Kind of like taking inspiration from the Shadow Lords mode from Killer Instinct 2013. Another disappointing game on my radar. And I put this on my radar. Well, not my radar, my list. And I don't want to talk about that game because I already stated why that game disappointed me so many times. I still like it. I still play it. It's just, ugh. Anyway. I just don't get it. I just don't understand why Double Dragon is stuck in this nostalgia loop. Like people crapped all over the movie. I reread the synopsis of the movie. The movie's story is 10 times better than what I dealt with in Double Dragon Revive. Double Dragon Revive is the same typical story. We got to save Marion. You save Marion, and Marion doesn't need saving because Marion, I can handle myself. Because we haven't seen that 3, 4 times. It was cute the first time, but if you keep doing this over and over again, it just comes across as lazy. And then, of course, oh man, you fight this boss character, and I know people are gonna say it's a reboot, it's a remake, and that's the problem. Because Double Dragon has been retold almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus times. This game series has been retold 6 plus times. It is so inconsistent with its story. Billy and Jimmy are teenagers. Well, now they're adults. Well, they have medallions. They don't have medallions, so they learn from master. Oh, they're self-taught. It's like, just pick a story and go with it. So I just gave up and said, thanks to Revive, you know what? Maybe Double Dragon needs this harsh criticism. Maybe it needs a wake up call. Maybe Double Dragon is just one of those games where it's just like, Double Dragon can be whatever it wants to be. And that's cool. I like that concept. Double Dragon furries, Double Dragon bronies, Double Dragon LGBTQ, Double Dragon robots. Double Dragon pretty much can go far beyond the cosmos. Double Dragons in space. Double Dragons meet TMNT. Double Dragons meet RoboCop. So Double Dragons cross Shinobi. Double Dragons cross Ninja Gaiden. Double Dragons cross Tekken. Double Dragons cross Street Fighter. Double Dragons cross Mortal Kombat. Double Dragon is a game series that pretty much can transcend into any timeline. Because, and you want to know why? And it's going to blow you away when I say this because the storytelling is very inconsistent. In Double Dragon Revive, the storytelling is so simplistic, it's baffling. There are some moments, and the voice acting is beautiful. And they try their best to make this story mode interesting, but and it's so confusing because it's like, well, wait a minute. You go from this beautiful, you know, 2D art style to this debatably somewhat kind of ugly art style, 3D art style, and it just kind of, it's just so jarring. It's like, well, it's ugly, but it's not ugly. It's just such an interesting, choice. This game also has inconsistency with text, where it's like one text is this font, and then the other text is this font, and then there's the other text. Like, no one pays attention to this, and it's not consistent, and it just looks bad. It looks ugly. It looks uncoordinated. It's just, oh my god, like, really? I've never seen that with any Double Dragon game, like, ever. And of course, with the fact that these characters have super flashy special moves, which I will say we have never seen that in a Double Dragon game, but we have seen that in other games. Do you see what I'm saying here? So we're going to stop. 4 out of 10. I don't want to talk about this game anymore, but we're going to stop because here's the reason why I want to talk further about Double Dragon, and I'm going to go ahead and just be done with it, okay? Too many people are excusing Double Dragon games because of nostalgia. Look at all the Double Dragon games. Look at them. Look at any retrospective video. Any, it doesn't matter. And you will see that Double Dragon is suffering from a creative drought. It doesn't know what it wants to do anymore. And it's scary. It's scary to me because it's like, well, wait a minute. Double Dragon is supposed to be this game series, right? That tells the story of Billy and Jimmy kicking ass, taking names. Simple concept, right? So, why is there all these other different versions of Billy and Jimmy? And Billy and Jimmy literally in space. Billy and Jimmy having these superpowers. Billy and Jimmy, having a cousin that we barely even know about. Billy and Jimmy saving Marion, saving Marion, trying to save the world, and it's just so strange. It's just like the Legend of Zelda or Mario effect, where the story is so inconsistent that you don't even know, and it's just these guys just going on an endless adventure. For what? The boss characters are inconsistent too throughout the series. And it's just strange to me. Like, I don't know. You gotta tell me. And then when they make the games, they make references to the movie. They make references to the old games. They make references here and there. It's just, what is Double Dragon? And Double Dragon Revive asked itself that question. It would have stopped the project entirely and asked itself, wait a minute. What is Double Dragon? Sometimes when you are tasked with a project, you have to ask yourself the hard question of, what is my actual goal here? If your actual goal is just to make a beat 'em up and make it fun and that's it, not try to innovate as much to help inspire other future beat 'em ups, then okay, why charge $35 for it then? That game should at least been $15. 15 at max. There was no reason why that game was $35 and it's lacking content. Oh, going back to that. Everyone talked about how Double Dragon, right? 2 Wandering the Dragons is such a shitty Double Dragon game. Well, it turns out it's not even that terrible. It's just a little bit slow and clunky, and the stamina system is our stamina meter. And of course, there is an odd ending where if you do a special move, you get a bad ending. In other words, motivating the player to beat the game without using special moves. Paying respects to the fact that the Double Dragon games are supposed to be absolutely difficult. So they're saying for using special moves, well, then you miss the whole point of Double Dragon. I get it. But everyone dogpiled this game and said it was terrible. What's funny is the game is a misunderstood disaster piece. One, it has designs that are pretty much inspired by Double Dragon. The story is honestly not that bad. It has, villains that pretty much are inspired. No, not inspired, that are from the old Double Dragon games. The level design, we'll admit, is a little bit kind of on the dull side. Kind of like Double Dragon Revive. Like, some of the levels are just forgettable. And I don't know why, but Double Dragon seems to always have that issue, except for Neon and Gaiden, where it's like, the level design is just always off. Like, there's that one level that you remember, but you don't remember it fully. Maybe you do. If you do, that's cool. There's like little Easter eggs, like little items that you can find throughout the game, and you unlock an achievement. And then, what's interesting enough is that the game has 15 levels. Double Dragon Revive for $35 only has 8 levels. Why are we going backwards? This is what I don't understand. One person made a funny comment and said, Double Dragon Revive literally looks like a sequel to Double Dragon 2 Wander the Dragons. And I hate to say it, I can't blame them for saying that. You look closely at the art. It's not too similar, but you can kind of see some similarities. I think the purpose of the stamina meter was to make the game harder. It was not to frustrate. It was literally just to pay homage to the fact that Double Dragon games are hard. So they wanted to make the game harder, but they failed to execute as to why the stamina meter was so punishing to players. They should have added a mode that removes it if you beat the game. Not to mention that the game modes are already unlocked from the start. Whereas in Double Dragon Revive, you have to unlock these modes. Like, what? It's so backwards. Certain iconic, well, maybe iconic villains are missing. You need an Epic Game Store account just to play online? Like, no, that's not cool. I think I rest my case, man. So, you can talk to me for hours about the combat, the mechanics, and what it does different from other Double Dragon games, but that's your problem. You're focused on what it's doing different from other Double Dragon games instead of acknowledging what it could have been. Don't let this game fool you into thinking that this is peak and this is all that it's capable of. Because if you go out there saying that this is the best Double Dragon game out there, when there's games like this that are going above and beyond and still being updated, by the way, even though it would be nice if there was, a dodge and block button. So I will give Double Dragon Revive. It does have a dodge and block button. Then Double Dragon can actually evolve. And the fact that so many people, right, are relying on Double Dragon Gaiden, I don't want this game to be put into the realm of being overrated. And I didn't know anything about this game until I checked it out on Matt McMuscle's channel. That's a fact. Actually, I did know about it, but I was like, oh, it's just another one of those Double Dragon games. And it barely has, the characters that I've been wanting in a Double Dragon game. That's why I love Double Dragon 4, because, the challenge tower mode and unlocking characters. And I can get why people get, like, fatigued and frustrated with Double Dragon 4, but it's supposed to be hard, It's paying homage to the NES versions. That's why the graphics look like that. But, oh, it's a terrible game and shitty. And trust me, I don't care what people say. I love Double Dragon 4. I'm a Double Dragon 4 stan. But I do acknowledge the issues. I wish that there was more game modes and I wish there was more enhanced combat. Absolutely. But it's like, hold on a second. What are we doing here with Double Dragon? Is Double Dragon just being handed off to anybody? I mean, if that's the case, how do I get my hands on this license? I mean, is it really that easy just to get your hands on this license? I mean, imagine spending, almost $100,000 on this project, probably even more, just for it to barely break sales even? This is Double Dragon. You would expect this game to probably sell, at first, at least maybe 50,000 copies, and then over, maybe within a month, maybe around 100,000 something copies. And the fact that these folks had no faith in this game at all, right? Or they were nervous because there was Next Fest. And they didn't even bother to have a demo with 1 or 2 chapters available to play with a training mode? In Shinobi Art of Vengeance, the demo, if I remember correctly, there's 1 level, or was it 2? And you have training mode where you can pretty much hone the skills of, Joe Musashi. No demo? Double Dragon 2, Wander the Dragons, they had at least some confidence in their game, even though, quote unquote, was bad, and they released a demo. Double Dragon Revive didn't even have a demo. You really? No demo. No 1 gigabyte, 3 or 4 gigabyte demo? And then the opening that they used. Goodness gracious, for some reason the opening lags. Like the frame rate drops. Like, what in the world is going on? So there you go. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what would you do if you had Double Dragon Revive in your hands? First and foremost, I would contact the Double Dragon original creators and have them help me with the art. I would say, here are my art designs. What do you think? And they would tell me, and I would say, look, well, understandable. What if I made these unlockable costumes? They would give the funds up and say, make them unlockable costumes. There you go. They should have went the route with Double Dragon Neon with the outfits and gave it a little bit of a twist, like a modern day twist. What we see here, Billy and Jimmy look like they belong in SNK's Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. They don't look like something from Double Dragon. That's why I'm so confused. But then again, it's Double Dragon, and Double Dragon, you pretty much can do whatever you want, for what I've learned. So, and like I already said about Marion, Marion's just a whole hum design, and Ronzo, one of the best characters in the game, is actually really fun to play as. But here's another thing this is another con, and I'm gonna go get back to the original topic. Why can't I switch characters mid game? Do like all these cool badass combos. Why am I stuck just playing with one character and I can't switch between the two? Why is there not a game mode where I can switch between, Billy and Jimmy, Billy and Ronzo, Billy and Marion, and do all of these cool combos? Why? Why can't I switch between them? Someone stated that there's no restart button. It's either you play through the level or you have to exit and do it over again. How do you not have a restart button? How do you not have a training mode where we can actually learn how to play this game? How do you not have an enhanced tutorial mode? This is Double Dragon Revive, and you keep going backwards. But anyway, so what I would do is all the top fan favorite villains, right? They all band together. They're sick and tired of Lees, and they want to take them out. So they bombard the Lees, and the Lees are getting tired, and that's what Sonny, and that's when Jeff come to the rescue, right? Because they had to, talk to them. Introducing 4-player co-op. Hell yeah. No, you don't like the new dreads? Go back to the classics. Classic outfits, pre-order bonus. Yeah. Unlockable combos. Unlockable special moves. Training mode, enhance. Training mode, Boss EX mode, Shadow mode. Beat the game on this difficulty, unlock the Shadow version of these characters, or beat the Boss EX mode, unlock Shadow Billy. Play as Shadow Billy and Shadow Jimmy for the first time ever. Over 16 levels. Change the speed of the game. Tons of ways to interact with the environment. And I'm going to stop right there. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now, doesn't that sound a lot better than that? Oh, and of course, versus mode where you can place the boss characters. So it will just be those 4 characters, Marion, Ronzo, and 2 new characters, right? Will be unlocked by just simply, beating the game or whatnot. They're pretty much already available in training and versus mode, but if you want to play as them in the story arcade mode, you have to beat the game. Challenge Tower is back. There will be a roadmap. Marcus will be available as a new playable character, right? And he'll have his own little DLC backstory. There will also be, if possible, DLC like DLC characters that are based off of, old beat 'em up games. Capcom, SNK, Final Fight, Streets of Rage, and from Streets of Rage from Sega, and one other character. Fuck it, let's add Sketch from Comic Zone. Well, actually, that's a Sega character, so we can't do it. So Sega, Capcom, and what will be another cool badass character to be added? That would be for you all to decide. But that alone would have been a much better game. Oh, also, you can choose to use the Epic Games Store account. Or you could just play it online, just normally. But if you log into the Epic Games Store, you can unlock extra goodies, enticing players to want to use Epic Games Store. The deluxe edition will include the 4 classic DLC outfits, a revamped, unused soundtrack, meaning songs that were cut from the game, and of course, art, like the digital art and stuff. That's cool, and a statue, like if like it's like an awesome little statue, 3D printed statue of the 4 Lee brothers. Well, 3 Lee brothers and a friend, and a whole brand new boss character. That's right, Shadow Geddon will be back. Oh yeah, the Kunio-kun brothers, or maybe the River City girls. Older versions of them. That'll be badass. And there'll be a roadmap where you could play as Bimmy and Jimmy, Bimmy and Jammy. There you go. Now, doesn't that sound a lot better than whatever Double Dragon Revive gave us? I literally just gave you all a better game right there. Okay, mine is probably the DLC roadmap and stuff, because I get involved all the time. But the base version, I literally just gave y'all a better game idea. Just like that. Just like that. But Double Dragon won't do it. And I'm going to explain to you why. Double Dragon is content with giving you, yes, you, staunch defenders, fans, the bare minimum. They are content with only giving you 2-player co-op. They are content with only giving you, certain characters. They are content with constantly leaving out certain boss characters. They are content with only giving you those 3 game modes that you love so much because you refuse to tell them it's not okay anymore. And this is why, as much as we have our issues with IGN, they're right. They're right with Neon. They're right with this game. And they're right with Wander of the Dragons. Because Double Dragon refuses to evolve past the bare minimum. It's stuck in nostalgia. It's creatively bankrupt. And at this point, Billy and Jimmy might as well end up as Fortnite skins. They might as well just be given the Teen Titans Go treatment if they decide to do a little TV show on Netflix. They might as well be used as merchandise. They might as well just be DLC characters for a fighting game. Because if we have stooped our expectations so low to the point where we could defend games like Double Dragon Revive and are too nervous because of the fact, well, it's the granddaddy, we don't want to, ask for too much. Yet here's Double Dragon Gaiden that's literally saying, here y'all go. There's also Double Dragon fan games where they're trying to rework the combat of old games. So Top Hat Gaming, and to your fans and followers, please really think about this for a sec. Do you feel that Double Dragon Revive could have been so much more? I understand that you're having fun and whatnot, but do you personally feel that Double Dragon Revive could have been a better game? Do you feel that we, the Double Dragon fans, deserve a lot more than what we were given for $35? Or are you content with, once again, giving the bare minimum? When River City Girls 1 and 2 has so much content. When the River City games have been giving us a plethora of content for years. Both games have been around since the 80s. What is Double Dragon's excuse for constantly only giving us the same game modes, retelling the same story with a twist? Why is it that everything has to be so streamlined with Double Dragon? Why are they so afraid of truly, fully innovating? Double Dragon Revive has some good moments, but we, the Double Dragon fans, deserve more than this. And the sad thing is, you Double Dragon fans know it. It's just like with the wrestling fans. You know y'all deserve better from AEW, WWE, but you don't want to say anything because you're content with mediocrity. You're content with it, and that's why WWE can't grow any bigger than it needs to be. CM Punk said it best himself. Vince McMahon is a billionaire that should be a trillionaire. You're content with what Tony Khan gives you with AEW. You are all so content, and you don't want to dare take the time to say, I disagree with you. Let us just have a civil conversation. Let us not talk about whether you like the game or hate the game, or I hate the game or like the game. Let us talk about the future of Double Dragon. We owe it to Double Dragon for the fact that we have so many amazing beat 'em ups of old and new and fighting games because of Double Dragon. We cannot let Double Dragon get away with mediocrity because it is not a mediocre game series. It is a superior game series. If any of you think that Double Dragon Revive is this great game, look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you think it could have been any better than that? If you say yes, then congratulations. You, yes, you and many others are the reason why Double Dragon cannot evolve and grow. It's okay. But if you're fine with Double Dragon only giving you the bare minimum, that's perfectly fine. Because at this point, Double Dragon might as well be given to any game company. Arc System Works. If this is the best you can do, and you can give River City games the better treatment, you need to give up the Double Dragon license and you need to make it open source. Just like with Steamboat Mickey. You need to give it up. You need to stop holding on to it. You need to give it up so that way other companies can show you how it's done. I'm not saying that the games are bad. I know I said Double Dragon Revive is a bad game. I'm saying that because I want to send a message to Arc System Works that this is no longer okay. It's your Nachi Bar Hated Virgo speaking. Do not let Double Dragon just be nothing but mediocre. It is more than that. And you, Double Dragon fans, deserve more. I will always be a Double Dragon fan. But I had to put my foot down. Out of all the game series that I've looked upon and said, oh man, this is going downhill and whatnot, Double Dragon needs our help. It doesn't need praise.